This is actually true karma. I just want to point that out before we actually read the article. This isn't karma in the sense that the universe retaliated against this person. It's more that this person knew that they fucked up and they themselves brought the karma on themselves. I love it. I never believed in karma until my affair with my married boss came back to haunt me 20 years later, and now I'll never know happiness again. All because, in her own mind, she knew what she did, so she projects. 20 years ago, I was the other woman in an office affair. I'm not proud of it. I bet you were back then. I was young, barely out of my teens, really, and so dangerously naive, I thought what I was doing was empowering. Looking back, I find my attitude mortifying. It started when I was 19, working at a small company with just 10 staff. I just moved out of my family home and was barely scraping together enough for rent and ramen. Then there was Gavin, early 40s, married, charming, confident that I've been around sort of way. His wife was British and often away, either traveling for work or in Airstrip 1 visiting family. I didn't give her a second thought. She was just a vague concept. That's generally how it is with women. Yeah, that's how it goes. Even if she was there watching from the cuck chair, it still would somehow be just be a vague concept. As irrelevant to me as the time as owning a home or filing a tax return. Yeah. Okay, that's a good comparison. Gavin made me feel seen in a way that felt intoxicating. Translation: he provided the attention whore with attention. Funny enough, that's all you got to do more often than not. He bought me lunch knowing I could not afford it, slipped me cash to buy drinks on Friday nights, and when I said I needed a laptop to study, he loaned me the money, but told me not to tell anyone. Well, yeah, I mean, this is the kind of stuff that'll get you fired. Yeah. Just help me with my computer skills, he said, a wink tucked into every word. The flirtation grew slowly over a year or two. He'd compliment my legs and I wore skirts. Tell me he'd had dreams about me, but only when no one else was around. Looking back, I see it for what it was. Grooming. The dude was hitting on her, and she calls it grooming. Do you want to ask again why men don't approach women anymore? In current year, if a guy tries to hit on a woman, he gets accused of being a groomer and sexist, and he gets shut down immediately. And then those same women, why do I feel invisible? But anyway, we're not anywhere close to the good part of this article yet. But all this setup is necessary, by the way. But back then, it felt electric. I thought I held the power. I thought I was a grown woman's making grown choices. The prototypical feminist, just an overgrown child. Now, the first time we had sex was at a housewarming party from my new share house. His wife was overseas, the booze was flowing, and the tension between us had been building for months. We snuck away to my bedroom like teenagers. First, we slipped in there to kiss again and again. And then by the end of the party, we went in for a kiss and didn't come out for hours. That was quite the kiss. I felt wild and wanted, and so far from the girl who once saved up to buy supermarket brand tampons. After that, the affair began in earnest. We had sex at work, locked rooms, quickies between meetings. The sneakiness was a turn on. Honestly, the sex was like nothing I'd ever known. I'd only slept with one boyfriend before Gavin, and it was sweet but vanilla. Gavin unlocked something in me I didn't know existed. So he's the one that outed you as a freak. Yeah. I felt sexy and confident, like I was starring my own late night TV drama. Yeah, women get off on this. If they don't have any drama in their life, they manufacture it. Well, Gavin introduced me to Prawn, and we tried what we watched. I was leveling up my sex game week on week. And when he and his wife announced they were expecting a baby, I was momentarily stunned, but we still didn't stop. He kept coming over, and when he started becoming jealous of my weekends out with friends, I didn't see it as a red flag. I saw it as proof that I was irresistible. But things started to sour. His questions about my life away from him became annoying. He'd call and text constantly. My friends started noticing how wound up I was and told me to cut it off. All of her friends knew she was doing this. They probably encouraged it too, now that I think about it. They were probably all doing the same thing, maybe even with the same guy. And the truth was, I was starting to find him unattractive. The fantasy was over, and the reality underneath was just sad. Yeah, these types of people, they come to this conclusion with pretty much all relationships, to be honest. When you told me they were moving back to Airstrip 1 before the baby arrived, I felt relief. No social media back then meant that when someone left, they really left. Yeah, back then when you had to keep in touch by phone calls and letters, yeah, nobody did. It was like closing a book when you're done reading. I moved on, had fun, dated, laughed, forgot. Until I didn't. Yeah, this is where we get to the karma part of the story. And it's probably not what you think. Trust me, this is good. Let me once again reiterate, she's doing it all to herself. I'm 39 now, way past the wall. Married, pregnant with our second, and the memories of that affair have come flooding back like a fever dream I can't shake. My husband works in a small company, 10 staff, young admin girls, work drinks, late night calls when projects run over. Now the projection begins. My husband, in his own way, is a bit like my old boss. He's not a groomer, of course. Right, because you still find him attractive. But he's a charmer. He has that same swagger and confidence. I know other Waymans must find him attractive. And suddenly, I'm her. The wife I never thought about. The one at home trusting, the one whose husband is laughing with a coworker, offering her help with her laptop, paying for her drink on at Friday knockoffs. Yup. So she remembered what she did when she was younger, and she realizes her husband is now in the same position her old boss was in, and immediately, oh, he must be cheating on me. Yeah, she will never know happiness again, and she did it to herself. I watch his location like a hawk. If he's 5 minutes late, my mind spirals. Yeah, and I bet you blow his phone up too and are starting to drive him away and annoy the shit out of him. I scroll through his Instagram likes. I reread old messages to decode the tone and detect lies. I cry in the shower when the anxiety gets too much. I feel insane. No, you are. This is the type of shit insane people do. She drove herself to insanity because she knows what she would be doing if she was one of her husband's younger coworkers, and she's projecting that onto them. And the thing is, he's never given me a reason not to trust him, but you're still going to ruin the relationship anyway. He's never made me feel small or ignored or unloved, but I keep waiting for the karma boomerang to come flying back and smash my marriage to bits. No, it already has. You're living through the karma right now. The fact that you've gone full psycho stalker because you're that scared of karma, this in and of itself is the karma. You living in constant fear is the karma already. Like at this point, tell me I'm lying. At this point, I think she would actually be relieved if she actually did catch him cheating. Because at least at that point, it's no longer hypothetical. It's no longer a possibility. It happened. And she's just like, oh, okay, now we got to deal with it. No, living with this constant fear, that is what's going to do her in. Yeah, this is true karma. It's not just fear, it's a belief. A deep, gnawing certainty that I deserve to be cheated on, that my past has poisoned my future. Whether or not he actually cheats on you, your past has already poisoned your future. Okay? You're right. You got it right in the title. You will never be able to know happiness again. You're always going to have this paranoia. You're always going to remember your time as the other woman and what you did. I haven't told him what I did. I don't know how to. How do you say, hey, babe, remember that new intern you mentioned last week? I was her once and I nearly blew up someone's life without blinking. Yeah, so this is one of those things. If you were dating him at the time you did it, then oh yeah, that would probably end the relationship right there on the spot. But if you met this guy long after you did this, and he knew that, like, he wasn't your first anyway, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. It's not like you cheated on him, but whatever. I mean, I don't know the guy. I can't predict how he'd react to that. Now, I worry that confessing would only create cracks where there were none. Oh no, dude, you're the entire foundation of your marriage is cracked right now. You are going insane, just out of paranoia. I think at this point, talking with about this with him might be the only way to save your marriage. But she's probably not going to do that. Yeah, but not confessing is turning me into someone I don't recognize, someone who is paranoid and suspicious and exhausted. I wish I could go back and shake my 20-year-old self. I want to tell her she's not as powerful as she thinks she is, that real empowerment comes from having integrity, that being desired is not the same as being respected. So how do you how do you see your current husband? Do you think he's the kind of guy that would take advantage of a young and experienced woman like you were apparently taking advantage of? If he does that, shouldn't you want to leave him? I also want to forgive her because she didn't know. She was flattered. She was flirty. She thought this older man she saw her as an equal. She didn't realize he was taking advantage of her youth, her low pay, and her wide-eyed inexperience. But mostly, I want peace. You're not going to get that. You're not going to get that anymore. I want to stop living in fear of a punishment that may never come. No, that is your karma. The living in fear of a punishment that may never come. This is why you will never know peace. If the punishment came, you could at least get over it. All right, it happened. It's done. I can move on. You're never going to be able to move on until it happens. And that is your punishment. This is worse than if something actually happened. You're going to be paying for this for the rest of your life, or at least until the divorce. I want to stop holding my husband accountable for someone else's mistake, mine. So I'm working on it. The rapey. Oh, I wonder if this one's going to end up like the previous story. Talking honestly with my closest friends who remind me that marriage isn't supposed to feel like a ticking time bomb. Dude, how much you want to bet this woman's friends are going to tell her to leave the guy? Oh, if your marriage doesn't feel right, just leave him. Oh, if you think he's cheating on you, he probably is. Yeah, don't wait. Just leave him. That trust is a choice you make over and over, not because someone earned it, but because you have chosen to not to be ruled by fear. That's not so much trust as it is just sticking your head in the ground. Maybe one day I'll tell him, maybe not, but I do know this: shame grows in silence, and I'm not about to let it rot the thing I've built just because I was once willing to destroy it for somebody else. Well, good luck, I guess. I know that this woman's never going to encounter any of my content anyway, but if I was to give you honest advice, just fucking tell him. Again, provided you were having this affair well before you met him, it would be one thing if you were cheating on him with your old boss. I don't know if you could recover from that. But the fact that this happened probably well before you knew him, if you don't talk to him, like, look, he probably recognizes that you're pissed at something. And if you don't want to tell him, he might start thinking you're cheating on him. He might start thinking that, you got a problem with him. If you don't talk to him about this, look, talking to him might ruin your marriage. Not talking to him will ruin your marriage. Pick one. Do you want possible destruction or assured destruction? Take your pick. But again, I know this woman's never going to watch my content anyway. I know she's never going to see this, but if I knew this woman in real life, that's what I would tell her. The only possible way she could ever find peace again and move forward is to talk to him. Because 99.9% of relationship drama results in people just not talking to each other. And which leads to a lot of misconceptions and people getting the wrong idea, which then becomes headcanon, and then they explode on each other. But if you still want that high of living in your own TV drama, I guess you got it.